what's up? Welcome back to my channel. Thank you to all my new subscribers. I know I've been MIA lately, but that's because my life is bat S-H-I-T, because I know my nieces watch this. Crazy. I'm gonna try to make this video as short as possible, but for the ones who already know, my life is insane, and trying to take you through my life's journey is gonna be a bit difficult, so I'm already gonna tell you now. If you want it to make sense, don't skip through the video because this video is gonna be all over the place. So I'm really about to expose myself right now. And let me just disclaim this, everything in my life that has happened, I'm not making this video to brag or like pity myself, like, oh poor me, look at all I've been through. No, I'm telling you this because my DMs get flooded with questions, with people going through some of the similar things that I've gone through, and I haven't even made a video about it yet, but they know just from my posts and stuff what I've gone through, and they ask me, how do you get through it? How do you do this? How do you do that? Well, stay tuned, because at the end of this video I wrote down all the questions and we're gonna get through this together, guys. I was born March 5th, 1999 in Santa Maria. My biological mother had my brother like a year and a half before me. He was there when I was born. I say my biological mother because I'm adopted. She ended up making some bad choices, got in with the wrong crowd, put us in some situations that shouldn't have happened. She made her mistakes and things happened. My brother got taken and he was placed with our grandmother's side of the family, and when I was taken, this is why I wish my mom was here, because my mom would know everything. She would answer every question I had. The way I figured all this out, I literally had to beg people to tell me what happened when I was a baby. Why am I adopted? I wish my mom was here because she would know everything. My dad doesn't really remember everything, and my siblings don't know 100% of it. The only people who know the truth is my biological mother. How I got taken, my biological mother was being chased by the cops with me in the back seat, and she ended up pulling over and they took me, and CPS was about to rip me from her arms and take me away. And luckily a CASA worker, and if you don't know what a CASA worker is, they are basically court-appointed social like advocates, or I'm sorry, I'll place CASA down here what it is. I'm not exactly sure, I haven't done my research that much. I just know that they're basically social workers that fight for children and their needs, and I am literally so blessed that this CASA worker showed up to this scene of me being taken by the police, because she said, no, you're not taking her. Does she have any family that is willing to take this child? Because you're not ripping this child away from everything she knows here. And luckily my biological mother was like, give her to my biological mother's aunt and uncle, which are now my mom and dad. So yes, my great aunt and uncle adopted me. I know it's confusing, so my biological mother's aunt and uncle ended up taking me in. They started completely over with me because all of their kids, they had 4 kids already, and the last one, I think my sister was about ready to graduate high school or almost done with high school when they took me in. And my dad, he tells me he was really unsure about bringing a baby into the family, and he didn't really know how to feel about it. And you know, my mom, open arms, give me that kid, I'm taking her in, that's my baby now. And my dad, the first night that I fell asleep on his chest, he said he knew I was his daughter. And I don't know how to explain it, but I just know that I was meant to end up in this family and live this life that I live today. So that's how I was adopted and all of that. I ended up getting adopted when I was like a couple years older. There's a picture somewhere. I got taken by our grandfather's side of the family, so my grandpa's sister essentially adopted me. So that was kind of confusing growing up because my siblings would call my grandpa uncle because that's their uncle, but to me, that's my grandpa. So I started calling him uncle, and my mom kind of had to tell me, like, no, that's your grandpa, that's your grandpa. So I was very confused growing up. I always knew that something was different, kind of, because when I went to school, I would see all the other little girls, and they would look, like, exactly like their moms, and I'm like, I'm over here, like, okay, blonde hair, like, colored eyes. My mom's got dark brown, beautiful brown hair, beautiful brown eyes, beautiful little button nose. I'm like, okay, over here, pointy nose, ass bitch, and I was just like, Mom, what? I thought adoption was... I'm so dumb. I was a child. I thought adoption was you were born cesarean. I didn't know what a C-section was, so I was like, oh, you're adopted. You come out of the stomach, not out of your mom's fucking coochie. And no, that wasn't the case. I was about 7 or 8, maybe 6. Maybe I was younger. Who knows? My childhood is all meshed together because I don't have good memory, because I tend to try to forget everything horrible that happened in the past. But anyways, I was little. My brother ended up telling me that we were adopted, and it finally clicked because my mom, bless her heart, my biological mother still lives in Napomo, so she would send me down there because my brother was living with our great-grandma, our grandma's mom, who happened to live right next to our biological mother. So we would go down there and we would have play dates with my grandma and with my biological mother, and I didn't know who this woman was. I just knew that every so often I would hang out with her, and she essentially did love me and my brother. I wasn't quite sure what was going on. So as time went on, I think my brother was 9 or 10 when it happened. The family our biological family was just fighting with each other. I don't think they get along that well, and my grandma's sisters, who ended up taking over custody of him because our great-grandma obviously got very old, they decided that they were going to move to Washington and never speak to us again. And they were the meanest people in the world. Imagine being 6 or 7 years old, having these old... I'm not against anybody lesbian, gay, nothing, but my grandma's sister was a lesbian and she had a wife. So imagine these 2 old ladies telling you, you're never gonna see your brother again. You will never see your brother. And me being little, I'm just like, but why? Like, that's my brother. I love my brother. And me and my brother, I'm gonna start crying. We're like this. And he was always there for me, and he protected me through everything. Growing up, I had a lot of social anxiety. I'm gonna stop crying because it's really embarrassing. But I do miss him. They took him to Washington. I haven't seen him since. I barely connected with him on Facebook a couple years ago, and he ended up actually replying to me. We talk a little bit here and there, but it's nothing like it should be. I slept in my parents' bed until I was in 7th grade. I didn't go to preschool because I did not want my mom to leave my side. I always had to be with my mom. So I didn't go to preschool because I cried my way out of it. I was so scared. I cried, I think, every single day up until 2nd grade. My mom, she'd walk me to class every day up until 2nd grade. And then I would literally cry every day before leaving her, going to school. I hated school. I hated it with a passion. My mom passed away when I was in 4th grade. I slept in the bed till 7th grade, and then my dad was like, okay, you can't be sleeping in the bed anymore. Like, you gotta start sleeping in your own bed. And so I did. But I was scared of the dark, obviously. Always. Still am. But yeah, my brother ended up moving away. Haven't seen him. I hope to see him again one day. I have forgiven our biological mother, and I'm trying to have a relationship with her. It's just hard because I could never choose drugs and men over my kids, but that's in the past. My brother, on the other hand, he doesn't have the support I do, and I could tell it affected him. He grew up a different way than me, and it's sad, but he will forever, I don't think he'll ever build a relationship with our mother, our biological mother. She is not my mom. Don't get that twisted. My mom who raised me is my mom. He hates her. He told me he will never speak to her again unless it is for information on our childhood and what happened, or his biological father. Up until a couple years ago, I didn't even know we had different dads, but yeah, we're half siblings, but I don't count it like that. That's my brother. When I was 9 years old, my mom ended up passing away. She was sick. She had a disease. I'm not quite sure the name of it. My dad forgets it, but basically it runs in women. It can be passed down in the women in the family. It basically makes your body shut down and you're in pain all the time. My mom had a lot of things wrong with her. Not wrong with her, but going on, you know. I need to calm down before I keep talking. Basically, the disease made her very sick. She also had cancer at one point in her life. She had to have her women parts taken out of her. My mom's been through so much, so strong. Strongest person I know. Most loving person I know. She would literally give the shirt off her back to somebody in need. And that's just how my mom was, and that's how she raised me. And I'm so thankful that I have her big heart to carry on with me through the rest of my life. She ended up passing away when I was 9. She had a stroke in the middle of the night. So imagine being 9 years old and being woken up by your dad at like 3, 4 in the morning on my brother's birthday and having to call 911 and me being scared of the dark, having to run out in the dark, banging on my brother's door, waking him up on his birthday. Something's wrong with mom, something's wrong with mom. She ended up passing away. It was a very traumatic time in my life. A lot of therapy, a lot of crying, a lot of, as you can tell, I'll never be over it. But I'm here today because my family is my biggest support system. My friends are my biggest support system. I still deal with it to this day. At the end, I'm going to talk about how I cope with all of everything I've gone through. So 7, 8 years old losing my brother, then 9 years old losing my mom, and then I believe like a year later my dad started dating and we started butting heads because I wasn't ready to see him with someone else, even though I knew he deserved to be happy, not move on. I'm not going to say move on because he still loves my mom. Like, to this day, he talks about her and he talks about the things they would be doing today if she was still here. And it's just crazy to think that they had a love that strong that 10 years later, he's still madly in love with her and dreams of her and talks about her every day. When I was about 11 or 12, I believe, my dad met my soon-to-be stepmother. Well, we always knew her. Growing up, her daughter played softball with me. I'm not going to go too deep into what happened here because it's a lot of legal shit. So my dad and my stepmom got married. They moved in. My stepsister was very jealous. She ended up telling a very big lie. My stepmother, who I looked at like a mother figure, ended up leaving me. So at this point, I'm like, okay, what's wrong with me? Because my biological mother chose drugs over me. My mom died when I was 9. And now my stepmother is walking out of my life too. So I'm just this motherless kid who keeps losing people. And I don't understand why. So after that, you're a strong ass bitch. Okay. So after all that, I started butting heads with my dad. We weren't getting along very well. He was going through some things. My sister actually ended up getting custody of me, I believe. And my dad I left / he kind of kicked me out / I think I had no choice as well from the legal shit, but I ended up moving in with my sister. And if you don't know, I have 5 siblings. Okay, from the adoption, I have 4 siblings. I have 2 older sisters and 2 older brothers. And then I have my brother from my biological mother. And then after I moved in with my sister, she had 2 children. She had a son and a daughter, Trevor and McKinley. And I consider those my brother and sister because I lived with them. I was basically a big sister to them. I hope that I still am, even though I live with my dad now. But I hope I still am a sister to Trevor because I will always take care of that little boy. That's my little brother. I moved in with my sister, I believe, when I was like 13 or 14. This was all going on, all the legal stuff, when my stepmom left and all of that. So I ended up moving all my stuff to my sister's. I moved in with her and her husband and her kids. I was only supposed to stay with her for like 3 months or a couple months. 5 months later, my niece slash little sister McKinley tragically passed away. One of the questions I had was, did you know Mac was sick, or was it a complete shock when she passed? It was a complete shock. What had happened was I was at a team dinner because, get this, I'm still in high school. I'm like 14 years old, 15 years old, something like that. And no, when Mac passed, I had just turned, I want to say 16. We had just had like my 16th birthday party, I'm pretty sure. She ended up passing away May 11th, 2015. My sister texted me and said, like, can you come home? We're gonna take Mac to the hospital because she's really sick and she's starting to breathe funny. So I said, yeah. I went home. My sister was getting everything ready. I was holding McKinley. She had been sick like the past week and her breathing was getting very funny. And I remember I was just holding her in my arms, sitting there with her, and she was like, I want to go lay down. And I was like, no, baby, like, we gotta go to the doctor first, and then after that we'll lay down, because that was my little sister. When I tell you I took care of her, I took care of this little girl. I made her bottles, I changed her diapers, she slept with me, she'd come to my room in the middle of the night and come cuddle with me. Like, that was my baby. I was gonna get my license, I was gonna take her everywhere with me. And sadly that didn't happen because on the way to the hospital she stopped breathing and her heart stopped, and my sister had to jump in the back seat and try to help her. And when they got to the hospital, the doctors tried the best they could, and for whatever reason they couldn't get her heart started back up again, so she passed away May 11th, 2015. I remember I was with my little brother at home. We didn't go with him, and we ended up riding our bikes and scooters back over to my teammate's house because she lived down the street and they were having team dinner there. And a couple of my other teammates were there, some of my best friends to this day. My sister texted me while I was there, and she said that, like, it's not looking good, like, her heart stopped, she's not coming back. And I was like, don't you fucking tell me that. Do not tell me that right now. And she just texted me and she told me she's gone, and all I remember is running out to the middle of the road. Okay, I can't do that for this video. I'm not doing that for this video. I was hoping that a car would hit me so I didn't have to go through all of this because I knew it was going to be hard. I was so pissed off. As soon as she told me that, I threw my phone at the ground, so that shattered and broke. It was gone. My dad came down and picked me and Trevor up, and we went to the hospital, and I just remember holding his hand in the back seat and being like, it's gonna be okay, we're gonna be okay. Obviously I'm like bawling my eyes out, but he doesn't know yet, and he's crying. I'll never get that image out of my head, seeing his little heartbreak. By the time we got to the hospital, the doctors were still working on her, I think, so we still thought that there was a chance. And they took us in this little room, and we were all in there. My brother's, I'm gonna say wife, they were never married, but wife at the time, was a nurse there. She was with us through all of that. You can do this. You can do this. You've been holding it off for way too long. The doctor came in, and he had started to say, like, I'm sorry, but we tried all we could, and she's gone. And I didn't even let him finish his sentence. I bolted out of the hospital. I ran through the hallways. I had to get out of there because it was... I do not want pity for this. Don't pity me because I'm crying. It's just... It's one thing to think about it. It's another to talk about it and relive what happened. But I'm gonna get through it. I'm okay. I'm fine. I couldn't be in the hospital because it literally gave me flashbacks to when they told me that my mom had died in the middle of the night. I ran outside. I took my dad's flip phone. I called my boyfriend at the time. That was the only person I had wanted to talk to throughout the whole thing. I sat right out there and I told him what happened on my dad's flip phone. I made my friend send me his number because at the time I didn't have it saved. I think we had barely just started talking at this time, so I was like, great. This guy just walked into a whole ass mess. I told him, I was like, if you want to leave, you can. I was like, cause I don't know how I'm gonna make it through this. And me and my dad sat in the car, sat in the Tahoe in the parking lot, and I was just like, Dad, I can't do this anymore. I don't want to be here. And he was just like, I don't either. And let me tell you, it's one thing for you yourself to want to kill yourself. It's another to hear your parents say that they can't do it either. They don't want to be here either. Almost immediately, we had people, all of our friends and family showing up to the hospital. It was filled. The whole outside of the hospital was filled with people. I just remember being on the phone with my grandma, and she was just like telling me stuff about God and the gospel and heaven and how we're gonna get through this as a family. We're gonna make it through. And I ended up having to go back inside and say goodbye to my little sister's body. It's one of the hardest things I've ever had to do. I'm sorry this video is going to be so long. I went home that night. I had to make a police report because when a child dies, they investigate and make sure there's no foul play. So imagine, I'm just thinking how my sister and my brother felt. Imagine losing your child and then having the police come and kind of investigating / interrogating you on as a parent, because they have to find out if you killed that child or if you did something to make that child die. So imagine what my family had to go through with that. And my eyes when I cry, I don't know if you could tell, they get really green, and they were so green. I'd cried so much that they thought that my eyes were blue. And so the next few months after that, my life were horrible. I remember the next day I literally cried in the arms of my boyfriend and told him how I didn't want to be here anymore. I realize now he was never truly there. It was all front. He didn't even go to the funeral after I had begged him to. People always ask, why did you stay so long? Why did you get treated like shit by him for so long? Why did you allow him to do those things to you? It's because he was there for me. I say he was there for me when McKinley passed away, because there was times literally that I couldn't leave the house or I didn't want to be at school, and he would just go with me, and we'd go to his house or we'd go to my house. And there was times where I didn't want to leave my room. I didn't talk to anybody. I just laid in my bed in the dark a majority of those months, and he would just lay there with me in silence in the house. People would be coming in and out, visitors all the time, and he'd just be there with me. So I will say thank you for that. But I now realize that I did most of it on my own, and that shouldn't have been the reason I stayed. I now realize that McKinley wouldn't have wanted to see me go through that. McKinley passed away in May. My ex's birthday is in July, and basically I didn't know this at the time. My best friend ended up hooking up with my boyfriend at the time behind my back, and I had no idea. And this guy's smart because he told me, he's like, oh yeah, like my friend's trying to make up this rumor that I slept with, we'll call her Bianca, with Bianca, but that's not true. Like, what the heck, I would never do that. Like, I would have to beat him up because he keeps saying that. And I was like, that's weird. Why would he ever say that? Because we had all gone out to I'm getting distracted over here ripping like the paper off this. We had all gone out to the dunes for his birthday, and my best friend went because, plot twist, she was dating his best friend at the time who he also lived with, and me being the little child that I wasn't allowed to do shit, so my sister was like, you ain't staying out there with him, you're getting your ass home. Y'all can judge me for this, I really don't care, I'm over it. I'm not petty, I'm just saying the truth because this is my life, this is what I had to go through. So they ended up hooking up in July, and this is 2 months after my sister just passed away. I'm grieving. I'm inviting this girl into my house, to my ranch, to everything. I'm making my boyfriend, because we're young at the time, I'm making my boyfriend pick her up and give her rides places because she doesn't have a car, she didn't have anybody. So I'm like over here doing the most for this girl while her and him are having sex behind my back. Flash forward to junior year. My ex had ended up getting with another one of my mutual friends, and she ended up finding out that him and Bianca had been hooking up the past 6 months or whatever it was into junior year after McKinley had passed. And she found out I had no idea about it because me and Bianca are over here still best friends playing volleyball together on the volleyball team and all of that. So this other girl, one of my other mutual friends, kind of blackmailed Bianca into telling me that her and him had been hooking up this entire time behind my back. And me and my ex weren't together when I had found this out. This is one of the many times that we were off and he was with another girl. So when I found out, I wasn't that surprised or shocked, honestly. I didn't take it horrible. I was just like, wow. And since I had already he wasn't in my life anymore, I had put the blame on her, kind of, which it wasn't all her fault. I know now how he is with women, and I'm sorry you got wrapped into that, and I'm sorry you were weak enough to fall for that stuff. And I'm sorry you lost one of the probably nicest, most loving people in your life that would have ever been there for you. But it's all good because, hey, I'm living my best life. Yeah, so when I found out, I was obviously mad at her. I never talked to him. Eventually, when he came back into my life, we talked about it, obviously, got over it. Well, I never got over it. Don't go back to somebody when they cheat on you because you'll never get over it. It'll haunt you for the rest of your life why they did that to you. I was still going through a very deep depression with my sister having just passed away. It was very hard to go back to school junior year. I literally would just stare out the window all the time and like try not to cry in class because I didn't want people to see me cry. I don't like crying in public. So, yeah, imagine finding out all of that stuff and then going through the depression with my sister. A lot of people think I'm strong, and to this day, not a single soul knows that I did this, so here it goes. At the beginning of my junior year, I tried to kill myself. I was over life. I was self-harming. Nobody knew. It was hot. If you know Napomo, it's hot as hell in October, and I think that's when it was because I just remember always being at volleyball practice, and I'd have to wear long sleeve shirts because I would be self-harming, and no one ever found out. My best friends don't even know. If they watch this video, they're gonna find out, and they're gonna probably be really pissed off with me that I never told them. But yeah, so I think I was 16 or 17 at the time. I was over life. Took a shit ton of pills, and I'm gonna put a suicide prevention hotline right here because I'm so glad I did not die. And I went home, and I thought I was gonna die. I went to sleep, and then it didn't work, and I got very, very sick. Thankfully, nobody knew what I had done because they would have taken me to the hospital, would have had to get my stomach pumped, but luckily I literally just died in the bathroom floor, just puking my brains out, couldn't even move, I was so weak. The only person who really noticed was my brother, my sister's husband. He was home that night, and he saw how sick I was, and he just probably assumed it was the flu. I couldn't even get out of bed, and he literally took care of me that night, and I was just like, you really just tried to kill yourself, and he's out here, the father of McKinley, living every day for you, and you're one of his only daughters. You're gonna be the one to when you get married, he's walking you down the aisle. Like, what are you doing? You can't do this to them. You can't give up yet. And so from then on there out, I chose to live my life and continue on and get stronger every day. I went back to softball, and that helped me out extremely. That's what I used to get my anger out. And flash forward my senior year, my ex decided to go to the military. November of 2017, we wanted to get married, and literally I knew that it was a bad idea, but I loved this guy so much that I was willing to do anything to make him happy, and I thought that I would be very happy marrying him as well. The only thing I was scared of was that I was going to lose my family, because I knew they weren't going to be okay with me getting married at 18, because my dad's biggest thing is you need to get your career and have a good life and get your money up before you ever depend on a man. And I knew I was doing the exact opposite, and it was going to crush my dad. And at the time I was living with my sister. I had literally like been panicking about it. My brother realized something was wrong with me, and he was like, what's wrong? And then I finally ended up crying to him about it a couple months before it happened. I was just like, we want to get married, like we want to live together, this is what we want to do. And he was like, you need to let him live his life in the military, let him finish out his term, and if it's still meant to be, it's meant to be. And me being that person, I was just like, okay. But then my ex was like, no. And so I was like, okay, we're doing this then. We're disregarding it. And so he came home in November of 2017, and he went and he talked to my brother. And I guess he had told my brother that, okay, we won't get married. And me over here doing anything to keep this guy, I'm like, well, yeah, we are getting married. And so we went and we talked to my dad, and my dad said yes, that we could get married. Then he found out that the marriage was the next day, and he got really pissed. So my brother ended up throwing all my shit out on the curb, getting me out of the house for trying to get married at 18 years old. And he was extremely pissed off. He was so mad, guys. Me and his sister ended up becoming best friends. I love you, CJ. I know you watch these. The day of the marriage, so this is what happened. I broke my family's heart by doing this. I feel so bad. My sister was so upset, crying, so sad. They were setting up for the wedding at the Elks Lodge, and my sister showed up with a couple things for me. And his parents saw how distraught my sister was, and they were like, this isn't right. You can't do this. Like, your family needs to be there for your wedding. Like, my dad wasn't walking me down the aisle, nothing. He wouldn't return my phone calls. He wouldn't talk to me. I knew in my stomach, like a gut feeling, it wasn't right, and I'm pretty sure he did too. But it was very sad. We turned the marriage, the wedding ceremony, into a engagement party. It was really awkward, kind of, because everybody knew we were supposed to get married. My ex was very pissed off that we weren't getting married and very irritated and sad, so he kind of just like ignored me the whole night. But he couldn't really do that because all my family were friends were there, and they wanted to meet him and see us together. After that, shit just hit the fan. Things didn't work out. I ended up coming home from the army, and shit hit the fan even worse. I don't know why he always cheats, but I couldn't do it anymore, and that is basically why the relationship ended. A question was, why aren't you engaged anymore? Simply because I think that I'll say we still have a lot of growing up to do, but since I have left, I have grown a lot, and I've matured so much in this past year. It's insane. We aren't engaged anymore because he couldn't stay faithful to save the life of him. That's all I could say. I always thought that the problem was me, but now I realize that it's not me, because he's still doing these things to other girls, and I'm just blessed that I'm not in that situation anymore, and I overcame it. Another question was, how are you able to get over being engaged? I was able to get over it because I have a very big support system. I have the most amazing friends. I have the most amazing family. I had the best coworkers. Literally everyone was there for me, and it just goes to show that when you're the faithful one in the relationship, you stay single and you stay healing until you're ready. trust is a big thing. I don't know if I'll ever be able to trust somebody again. I literally woke up one day and was just like, if McKinley was here, would you want to see her being treated like this and living like this? And I said, hell no. And I was like, all right, you gotta dip and you gotta do what's best for you, because that little girl's up there watching me and my mom's up there watching me, and I know it's literally killing them to see me go through this. I promised my sister I would never let anybody treat me like shit again, and I'm keeping that promise to this day. 2018, literally a year ago, a couple days ago, my best friend Miranda's brother passed away. That was another very tragic thing that happened in my life that has shaped me into the person I am today, because as a person who has lost a sister and a sibling and my mom and all that, you never want to see the people you love go through the pain that you did, and that's exactly what I had to see with my best friend. And it's such a hard thing to watch someone you love go through that. I thought it was hard to go through it yourself. No, it's a million times harder to watch your loved ones go through it too. It was an open casket, so seeing his body really, really affected me. I still have nightmares to this day. I would stay up till 4 or 5 in the morning. I couldn't sleep. It was really, really bad. I'm still coping with it a year later. Rest in peace, Mario. Much love. Happy 1 year to you. I'll just take a moment to talk about my new life and how that's going. I dyed my hair blonde, as you can tell, a little bit, because it was starting to get brown. I moved back with my dad after all that marriage stuff happened. Me and my dad are doing amazing. There's not one thing I can complain about, and if there is, it's that my mom and my sister should be here for it. But my job is amazing. I love my job. I love working there. I'm doing so good in school. I'm thriving. I'm passing all my classes. I'm about to apply for the LVN program in the spring. Hopefully I get in at Hancock, because that's where I really want to do it at. If not, Cuesta or Santa Barbara City. Honestly, if you're sitting in public with me, just know that means I love you, because ain't nobody knowing my business nowadays. That's all I gotta say. I have a surprise coming in my next video. I can't say what I'm doing because I'm surprising some of the people that watch this. I'm taking a trip somewhere and I'm taking you guys with me, and I'm so excited. You guys just stay tuned for that. It's gonna be so fun. Now that school's over, I'm gonna try to start posting videos more. I'm so sorry that I was lagging, but it's officially my summer. It's a hot girl summer. Like this if you a hot girl. Just through all of this, I've found myself in the past year. I've grown and I'm literally glowing. I am the happiest I've ever been. I thought that I would need somebody there constantly, always with me, and that's not the case. Through everything, I have held my head high. And you know, there's a lot of lies out there on my name and just a lot of crazy stories. And like, even my best friend Chelsea, she was like, dude, she's like, in every story you're always the bad guy. And I was like, I don't know, dude, but it is what it is at this point. I used to want to protect my name over anything, and I would call you out and I would fight with you, but nowadays it's protecting my peace over anything. I'm not gonna let anything ever get to me the way I used to. I'm just overall trying to be a better person and improve my life, because one day somebody's gonna come along and they're gonna fall in love with the person that I've created and the person that I am today, that I love myself, and I won't ever have to change myself for somebody again. But until then, I'm chilling. I have my friends, I have my family, I have my cat. I love my cat. I literally don't know what I would do without my cat, guys. Honestly. A couple more questions that you guys had that I wanted to answer at the end was, what has been the hardest part about losing your mom and sister? I know this question is tough, but you're an amazing person. The hardest part about losing them was that you never know when your last day is going to be your last day with those people, and you never know what the last thing you're going to say to somebody is. And so I wish that I had gotten to say goodbye to my mom and talk to her before she left, and the same with McKinley. I think the hardest part is living without them, going through the motions every day, and just thinking in the back of my head, this should be McKinley, this should be my mom, they should be here. Everybody else, seeing other people with their moms, it hurts because I don't have that. And seeing people, I'm to the age where my friends are having kids, seeing my friends or other people or strangers with little girls that have that hair like McKinley and are the size that she was when she passed, it breaks my heart a little bit knowing that she's not here. Just I would say just going through the motions every day without them here is probably the hardest part. Another hard part is forgetting things about them. Obviously it's gonna happen, but you feel like shit if you feel like you're starting to forget what they looked like, what they talked, how they laughed, what they smelled like, what their favorite things were. That's pretty hard. How do you stay so positive? I have no choice but to. I have a dad that I have to make proud of me because he has gone through hell and back and risked everything and anything to get me to where I am today. So I gotta make that guy proud. And for the longest time I was depressed, but you know what? When you're depressed, you just gotta get up and literally move your body. Do anything. Just get up. Do not sit in your room. Do not sit in your bed with the lights off. No, get your ass up and get going. If you don't have friends, if you don't have family that's going to support you, I've got your back. Message me, call me, do whatever you gotta do. I will be here for you personally. If you are one of my subscribers and you are going through anything and everything, I will be here for you guys. And I just know that if my sister, the mom of McKinley, is gonna go through life, then I'm gonna be right there with her because that's my sister, and I'm not gonna let her go through any of this alone because her pain is probably a million times worse than my pain. And I can't even think about it, it'll make me cry. But I have nieces and nephews who look up to me, who need me as a positive role model in their life. Another one, how do you stay so strong? My family and friends. I vowed myself to live a life that McKinley and my mom would live. Everything I do, I know that a little piece of them is inside my heart, and I have McKinley right here. I lost my mom. I'm so sorry, Mom. I lost her at a tournament a long time ago. I had a necklace of hers. That was her ashes. But I saw McKinley right here. My mom's hair, they had to cut my mom's hair off for her procedure before she passed away, so they gave us her hair, so I have her hair up there. I stay strong because I know that there's people out there watching me that want to see me fail, and I'm not gonna let those people's opinions or the things they say about me affect me anymore. I'm gonna do me, and I'm gonna keep pushing because I'm going to make my dad and everyone, my mom, my sister, all of them, I'm gonna make them proud, and that's the end of it, period. I have a couple quotes on here that I just wanted to say because I thought that they were very inspirational quotes. I love when people come up to me and the first thing they say is, dude, I watched your YouTube video, or this or that, I watched this video, I watched that video, and they're just smiling, laughing, and I know it brings joy to their life, and I'm like, yes, like, this is what I'm here for, this is what I want for my people. Like, I'm here to help you guys. I'm here to make you smile. I'm here to make you forget about whatever you're going through at that time. Like, I promise. I'll start making more videos for you guys. But there's this quote that I saw that resonated with me. It says, one day you will tell the story of how you've overcome what you're going through now, and it will become part of someone else's survival guide. And I thought that was a big one because I get a lot of messages, a lot of DMs. How did you get over blank? Because I'm going through a similar thing with this blank or that. And I will help in whatever way I can. So I thought that was a good one to share on this channel. And another one, just remember, even if they don't fuck with you, they're always going to be watching. Y'all can take that how you take it. Because I know that I got some haters out there that are watching this. And also, if you're one of the ones trying to privately message me and apologize for things, but then you're going to publicly like things that are lying on my name and stuff like that, bye. No, I don't fuck with you like that. Nice try though. Oh, another one, the way that I found peace is, or how I like am happy is, in order to find peace, you gotta stop fucking with the people that you love and start fucking with the people that love you. And that was a big one because it took me so long to realize that not every day one is with you anymore. Not every person who is showing you love loves you. It could be a front. They could be hating. Some of your biggest supporters are also some of your biggest haters on the inside. I just had to wake up and realize that. Sometimes God takes you on a journey that you didn't know you needed to bring you everything you ever wanted. Trust the plan. And I couldn't agree with that one more. I never, ever in a million years expected myself to go through what I did go through in the past couple years and to come out on top like I did. And in the beginning, it was so scary leaving. Imagine leaving the only person you've ever loved or known for years with your life. Leave their entire family that you love so much. Shit was hard, but I trusted the process and I let it flow, and here I am today, thriving. And another one of the ones, which is for YouTube, why I started my YouTube, God pulled you out of the pit so you could go back in and get more people. Never forget that, and I will never forget that. God pulled me through, and I'm still here today because I feel like I have a greater message to get out to the world. And yeah. And another one, if their absence brings you peace, you didn't lose them. Keep that one in mind. Someone somewhere is still discussing the old you because they don't have access to the new you. And that's one of the ones that took me a while to comprehend, because I was so ready to fight anyone that was talking bad about me and to confront anyone who was spreading the lies about me. And now I'm just like, I hear these like wild ass rumors about me and I'm like, damn, I didn't know that about myself. I do not hold any hate in my heart or regret, because the only thing I regret is not leaving sooner. But then if I did leave sooner, I wouldn't have the life lessons that I do now. So I could say I don't regret anything. So this one says, I don't regret the love I gave you because you probably needed it more than I did. And that's true. I believe at the time that the people that I gave the love to the most and rocked with the most needed it more than I did. This right here was one of the ones where I was like, I'm gonna change my life when I read this one. 10 years from now, make sure you're able to say that you chose this life. You didn't settle for it. I will never settle for a thing ever again. Mark my words. I love you guys. That concludes this video on my life. I just outed myself to everybody. I don't know how long this video is going to be. I'm so sorry, but if you watch till the end, then thank you for that. I love you guys so much. I'll be back with more videos soon. Just stay tuned and trust the process. If any of you ever need me, don't hesitate to message me, text me if you got my number. I'm an open book. I'm here for you all. I will help you with whatever. Thank you for supporting me and being here with me through this journey to watch the glow up. Bye.